Hey, it's Betty Penny, and today I'm going to show you 3 ideas to make using a matchbook design. So I'm going to make this notebook for craft fairs. I made like 15 of them. Then I'm going to use the same basic design and make an ephemera holder for junk journals. Just a great filler. It's pretty flat, so it won't bulk up your junk journal too much, but it will be something fun to add into all those pockets. And so I have a couple of ephemera holders and then a really basic greeting card, which is another great way to use the matchbook. So welcome to my channel. Welcome to my paper playground. I am so glad you guys are here. Let's jump into where this all started. It started with a box that arrived from an order that I placed back in December. On Instagram, there's a lovely lady there selling and destashing a lot of her craft supplies she doesn't want anymore. And I found a home for them right here at my house. So I just wanted to share this with you because maybe destashing is something that you're interested in, like purchasing destashed items. I think it's a wonderful way for us to give craft supplies another life with a new crafter, not to throw things away, to maybe recoup a little money, and just a way to support other crafters. She gave me this incredible 6x6 mini album. It's so gorgeous. I just had to show it to you real quick. And then I'll talk a little bit more about the stamps and things that I purchased from her and how that has anything to do with this video. But look at this. I'm a little bonkers. Maybe I'm entirely bonkers. This is such the mini album for me. I feel just so much gratitude that she sent this to me, and so blessed. So I've placed a few orders with her. We've had great conversations, and I just feel really, really lucky that this has a home here with me now. I'm going to leave her Instagram handle down below. I'm not going to share her name because I don't know if she wants that shared. But it's a great little destash. What do they call it on Instagram? They don't call it a channel, page. I don't know. I'm obviously not Instagram cool, y'all. But this is really cool and I love it. And it's in a great home. It will be cherished here. I just had to show it to you guys. But all of this has to do with, because when I got my big box of stamps, I was like, I'm not doing anything until I've stamped these out. So I bought a bunch of wooden stamps. She sold these in 2 groups. One was angels, one was teddy bears. I had to have them both. And it's so funny. I gave my sister-in-law all my wooden stamps when she started making cards. I gave her other kinds too, but I gave her all my wooden stamps, and now I'm collecting wooden stamps again, of course. But anyways, I got these because I want to add them to journal pages when I don't want to do printables, or, just to add something different. I want to make ephemera with them. I want to make cards with them. I want to stamp them on my envelopes, do the things the stamps do. And, bringing wooden stamps back, this is a supply that usually you can find in thrift stores at this point. And I say we grab them and use them. All right, another thing that I grabbed were these Project Life cards. Now, y'all have seen me work with these before on my channel. If you haven't, go check it out. It wasn't that long ago that I got out this whole box that a friend gave me, and I almost used them all up then, but I'm definitely going to use them all up now. So I just brought out my stamps that I had gotten in that destash box, and I am going to make just a bunch of really basic Project Life cards. I'm just taking the Project Life cards and stamping them up. I'm not coloring anything. I'm keeping this really basic because these are going to be the focal points for these little journals that I'm making. I made like 15 of these for a craft fair. They make up very fast, and I think they're going to be a top seller. I know items like this move off my table lightning fast. So, I'm excited. And I can keep it at a low price point. I'm thinking like $7 a journal. And aren't these just adorable? Oh, I love them so much. Okay, so let's make the covers, these matchbook covers. This is a directional paper. I'm going to tell you right away, don't use directional paper unless you just are really set on it, just because one side's always going to be backwards. This is cut down to 4¼ by 11¾ So that's the dimensions. And then we're going to score at 4½, 4¾ and 10¼ Okay. And this is going to make our matchbook. I score at 4½ and 4¾ so that the cover opens very nicely. And that's why I have that score so close to each other. You don't have to. You could just score at 4¾ and 10¼ Okay. So that is the cover. Now, if you can, when you're scoring, you can kind of decide which way you want to turn your paper so that, you can decide whether the front is going to be upright or the back is going to be upright. So you may need to turn your paper the way I am doing here so that this is going to make my cover upright. My back will be upside down. Again, if you just use non-directional paper, you won't have to worry about this at all. You'll just cut your paper, score it, and go. But if you're really set on using directional paper, I wanted to leave this portion in for you to give consideration to. All right, and I'm just making that second score there so that the cover opens easily and, bends well. So that's what that's there for. You will be able to get 2 covers from every 12 by 12 sheet, and you want to keep all leftovers that you cut off, the little ones, the big ones, all the scraps. You're going to want to use them. I just know it, so please don't throw them out. Just trust me. Hold on to those. Okay. So now we have a whole bunch of covers. I have some that are directional, mostly ones that are non-directional, because that just makes life so much easier. And I like it when life is easy. Let's talk about the paper. We're going to grab 8½ by 11 sheets of paper and cut those to 4¼ on the 8½ inch side. And then we're going to cut it to 10 inches on the 11 inch side. So this is 4¼ by 10. And then once I have these cut down, I'm going to grab a real thin patterned paper. This patterned paper is the ones that come in like 180 sheets per pack at Hobby Lobby and Joann's and places like that. I'm cutting these down to 4 by 10 inches. So you may be wondering, like, why are you cutting some to 4¼ and some to 4? Because I like to get the most out of my paper. And this enables me to get a lot more and not have scraps. So that's why we're doing the paper of those sizes. So here we are. I have 2 covers here for you, one that's non-directional and one that is directional. So with this one, I scored it so that the hearts are upright. I'm going to take this little card to my sewing machine and I just sewed it onto a scrap, and then I'm going to glue it on. I'm not doing any coloring. I'm keeping these very basic because I want a low price to be able to be put on there. I want to mass make them and make a ton of them and have a bunch of them on my table. Okay, so there's no time for coloring and being all fussy here. Now, I decided on this one, this was my prototype, to trim it down a little, but I really don't recommend that for anything but the cards. You could trim it down a little for the ephemera holders, but for the journals, you want to stick to the measurements I've already given you. Now, see on the back here, my hearts are upside down. I'm just going to cover that with a scrap of paper. I have this lovely sheet of Maggie Holmes paper, and it was a scrap. I didn't need to cut much off of it, which is perfect. I just kind of eyeballed it here. I'll use my teeny tiny trimmer, trim some of that off, and then I'll be able to cover the back of this journal so my hearts aren't upside down. With some of the patterns, they were upside down, but it really didn't bother me, but this one did. So it's all up to you and what you want to do and how you want your things to look, but I don't want a whole back cover upside down when it's really noticeable. So this is the hack, grab a scrap or just grab another sheet from your paper pad. If you're like me, if your walls in your craft room are lined with patterned paper, then I give you permission to use another piece. Just do it. Just use another piece. On this one, I'm going to show you something even more simple. Maybe you don't sew on paper. You don't have to make this project. There's no sewing required, so don't let that stress you out. Just grab one of your quick make project life cards and make that the cover. Here's one here. I think I just used this little angel. It already kind of looks like it's matted on paper, so she's perfect. She's just perfect. I'll use her. Super easy. Now, this one is going to be a card. I did trim it down a little bit. Again, you don't have to, but you can if you want to. And this one, I just knew it was going to make a greeting card, so it didn't need very much of a gap there. So I'm going to glue this directly down to the cover. And just like that, like the front's pretty much done, but I will use some scraps. If you cut your paper the way that I did, then you will have all the right kinds of scraps to fill in gaps. So you'll have all these little pieces of paper right here. You can decorate the little flap of your matchbook with these, and it's just perfect. I did just a little bit of stamping on the inside of this. I'm using glue here to keep my matchbook closed for my card because I'm not putting any paper in there. I don't have to use staples. Maybe you don't like staples. I agree. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. It depends on which way the wind's blowing at my craft room. But I wanted to show you, you can just use a line of glue to keep that shut. All right, for me, 2 pieces of the tea-dyed paper, 2 pieces of the pattern paper. But Bitty Penny, I don't tea dye. That's cool, no problem. You can use lined paper, you can use white paper, you can use 4 sheets of patterned paper. You can do whatever your heart desires. This is just what I chose to do with mine. So I'd put a patterned piece, a tea-dyed piece, a patterned piece, and a tea-dyed piece, and that made me happy. Now, they are not the same size, right? Because we cut some at 4 inches and some at 4 1/4. But I like that. I like the peekaboo of seeing those pages behind. Now, you won't have to make any adjustments there because I already did that for you, but on that one, I had to trim a little off. On this one, I'm showing you, make sure you don't staple your cover shut, right? So I'm looking there and making sure I'm not going to staple my cover, and I'm just going to add 2 staples. Look at this little bliss journal, and that's going to hold this one together. For the staples, because I'm not a big fan either. I mean, I am and I'm not. I just used those scraps and I covered up the staples on the back of the journal, and then I used more scraps and covered up the staples on the front of the journal. What you want to do is, score all your paper, put your paper into your cover. If you're going to staple it, then add these little pieces to cover up the staples and to decorate the front. That's the order of operations for you guys, if you're following along. I think these are just great for like teachers' gifts and just small little gifts. A lot of things on my craft fair table are like $10 or $15, $25. I try to keep it really affordable and I try to mass make. And this one, I'm just real excited about it. I know it's going to be a hit. So here is how this came together. And I love having the variety of a cute little bear here, an angel there. anything, having lots of variety. Maybe I'll have some Alice ones. Now, I did bring in some seam binding to decorate the top of all of these because it just makes it more fabulous. You don't have to use seam binding. You can use any kind of ribbon. I even tore some cotton fabric for some. So anything goes, just whatever you have or want to use, twine. I just think they make them extra special to have that bit of ribbon there at the top. It's a detail that you can add that really embellishes it, that doesn't take long. Again, when you're mass making for a low price point item, these are considerations to always take into account. This one is so fabulous. It's a cluster that I had made on a Project Life card previously with my scraps. And it's like a sewing party. Oh, I just love it. I know this one's going to go super quick on my craft fair table. Got my paper together, and right here I'm showing you, see that score there? That's 4.5 and 4 3/4. That just makes this cover so easy to open where you're not having to bend the back very much. All right, so this is going to be my ephemera holder, and I'm just going to show you real quick. You can use scraps to make your pockets. You can use Project Life cards to make your pockets. You can use some more of that pattern paper that is lining your craft room walls like mine. Whatever you like, but I did like adding pockets. You could stack multiple pockets here to add in your ephemera, just whatever makes you happy. I brought in some more Project Life cards, and I ended up using those as my pockets, and I stuffed things in them. I stuffed more Project Life cards in those pockets. It's very simple. I just put two lines of glue, one down each side, and glued it within that matchbook area. And that's it. I have a pocket. I'm actually going to have two, because when I staple this shut, then that's going to create another pocket in itself. So I'm going to staple first, and then I'm going to add my decorations to it. I hope you guys enjoy this idea and give it a try, whether you're making cards. I mean, such fun cards, right? Whether you're making ephemera holders. I kept everything basic because I wanted you to get the general concept here today, and you can run with it. This could be so fabulous. You could spend more time on these, especially these if you're using them for Happy Mail or as ephemera holders. But yeah, you definitely have two pockets there for tucking things in, and I just think it's so fun. All right, maybe you don't want staplers. That's cool, no problem. If you have like a hole punch or a crocodile, I'm going to show you two more ways to do this. So I've got my paper and my little matchbook, and you can definitely use a paper clip there to hold your paper in and in place. But then I decided that I would use brads. I thought maybe lots of my friends here have brads they need to use up in their stash. So I just punched the holes through and then put these decorative brads inside. It holds the paper really well. It's perfectly in place. And then I'm going to cover up those metal pieces the same way I did with the staples. And I'm just going to put paper on the back of them, this scrap paper that we have so much of that's so perfect because you didn't throw it away. Good job. Yeah, so I'm just going to cover those up. Now we don't have to worry about the brads falling out, getting caught on anything. I love that one. Make the art, break the rules. Here's another one. So I'm still using the crocodile. It's a lot easier than I make it look. And then I'm going to put eyelets in these and crunch them down with a crocodile, and then I'll put ribbon in them. So that's a total, another way to seal these closed. I mean, you could probably even use paper clips like decorative paper clips to keep these journals together. I really think anything goes. You don't have to, also, I wanted to mention, you don't have to use paper to fill these the way I did. You can make it like a little junk journal and add random, like different sized pages that just all go together. I just chose to do it this way in case you are making these mass production style. I wanted to show you kind of the easiest, fastest way with measurements. But you can make these so cutesy with like different kinds of book pages and, all different kinds of paper and different sizes and stickers. Go overboard. Just put your zing on this project. I promise they're so fast and so fun. I made 15 of these journals in about an hour, y'all. Just production line making journals, like little matchbook journals. So let's look at them as I put my things away. Don't mind me. But yeah, let's take a look at some of the things I made. I mean, after the camera stopped, I kept going. Make your art, break the rules. Yes. I just think they're so adorable. You could add more to these. Like I said before, you could tuck in stickers, you could add pockets, different types of paper. I just wanted a fun, cute little notebook. Someone could toss this in their purse and take it on the go. I think people still do that. I mean, at least 5% of the population, maybe. I made some that are faith-based. So again, I want to have a lot of variety on my table. So I have some that are really cutesy, some that are artsy, some that are Christian, faith-based, fill in the blank, kiddish, momish, shabby chic, grunge, steampunk, anything goes. I love it. These are so much fun to make, you guys. And look, I used so many of my stamps already. Yay! I mean, yeah, it feels good when you bring something into the craft room and you use it before you ever even put it away. I totally recommend it. It's a win to do that, to acquire new things and use them right away. I hope you guys are feeling really inspired and you can't wait to go make one of these or 20 of them. That's how I felt anyways. The happy journal. Yay! This is the one that started it all off. So much fun. I had so much fun. I hope you have had fun watching. Here's some with like just torn cotton fabric. And it's a little bit big and it's a little bit bold, but some people are a little bit big and a little bit bold, like me. So they're probably going to like this when they find it at the craft fair. If you keep your colors and patterns really close to one another, that would help make these go even faster. Like, I had 4 sunflower journals, stuff, things like that. Things to think about. The little ephemera folders for my junk journaling friends that are hanging out with me today. Aren't these fun? Or for Happy Mail, you could send your girlfriend a bunch of, ephemera and crafty goodies that they can use to make things. I ended up coloring this little bear because I kind of couldn't help myself. I definitely want to stamp that bear on my envelopes when I send cards and Happy Mail to friends. Definitely go check out the D-Stash, whatever handle, the Instagram page. I don't know what you call it. Again, I'm not Instagram cool, but if you're into D-Stash, I will have that information for you down below. And for everyone who's keeping count, I did not purchase these in January. I purchased these in December. So, just saying. But I did break my no buy again. I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger. You'll have to come back to find out what I bought. but I promise to keep it real. So I'm going to tell y'all about my wins and when I fall off the wagon. So here it is. Here's the project. I hope you enjoyed all the makes, all the details, all the measurements, and that you have a lot of fun making some of these for your friends, family, or next craft fair. See you guys next time. Bye.